Hi everyone, Thomas from Backscatter here, and today we are looking at the Retra Pro Max strobe. This is the latest top-end strobe from Retra. It has a redesigned battery compartment and an all-new booster to use 8 batteries with the strobe. It also has an added OLED screen to the back, making it an attractive upgrade for retro shooters with older strobe models, or for any shooter looking for a medium-sized, wide-angle strobe with plenty of features, including HSS with compatible triggers, S-TTL, a user-programmable custom mode, and the ability to update the firmware via Bluetooth. In this video, we're going to break down this boutique strobe and everything you need to know about it, as well as how it compares to all the other strobes on the market right now. Let's jump back across the street into Backscatter Studio for a closer look and to figure out what you get for your money with the Retra Pro Max. Lined up in front of me are all the most popular strobes for underwater photography that we sell here at Backscatter, lined up in price from least expensive all the way to the most expensive. Now, all these different strobes have their own stated specs from the manufacturer, but we don't always know how the manufacturers develop those specs. We put every strobe that we sell through our own set of controlled in-house tests to form a fair basis for comparing any given strobe. We'll get into the details of what we found out about the Pro Max performance in that section of the video. But for now, let's talk about its price and where it fits into the lineup. The Retra Pro Max is $1,600 and is the second most expensive strobe in the lineup. As you can see, the Pro Max is equipped with a circular flash tube. This fits in with most other high-end strobes in the lineup. Circular flash tubes produce a wide, even beam and typically have warmer color temperatures compared to narrower, cooler, straight flash tubes. Circular flash tubes have higher power demands than straight flash tubes and typically use proprietary batteries or extended caps to increase the strobe's battery powers from 4 to 8 AA's like the Retra. Let's take a look at what you get in the box. The Retra Pro Max includes the strobe itself, a ball mount, a tube of O-ring grease, and spare O-rings. The ball mount is not pre-installed, but it comes with a hex or Allen key, making attaching it a breeze. The Retra Pro Max is a medium-sized strobe. Some are larger and some are smaller, but this overall fits pretty squarely right in the middle of the lineup. They are constructed with an aluminum alloy, so you'll notice that these strobes will feel a little on the heavier side at 1.9 pounds or 878 grams, and they do feel solid and well built. Due to the extra weight of the Retras, you will need more flotation to keep your rig closer to neutral. Thanks to the aluminum construction, the Retra can easily dissipate heat buildup as well. If we check out the front of the strobe, it has a circular flash tube with a single LED target light in the center. The front of the strobe has a machined bayonet mount for using Retra's classic A1 mounting system, allowing you to use all Retra A1 accessories with the Pro Max. The bayonet system makes attaching a diffuser or other accessory easy. All you need to do is line up the dots and rotate to lock the diffuser or accessory into position. To remove it, simply rotate in the opposite direction. The Retra Pro Max only has one synchronization port for fiber optic triggering. The Pro Max includes an adapter that allows you to plug in a CNC-style cable directly to the strobe. If you are using a housing with electronic sync, you will either need to upgrade to a fiber optic triggering system or adapt your electronic sync cables with one of Retra's e-opto converters. The e-opto converter attaches to the end of an electronic sync cable, allowing it to send an optical signal. Retra has several different models of e-opto converter based on the electronic sync cables you are using. If you currently have a housing with electronic sync only, call or email us and we can help you find the best option. The Retra Pro Max will need Eneloop Pro rechargeable nickel metal hydride batteries in order to get the best performance out of the strobe. We do not recommend any other type of battery. Alkaline batteries simply won't cut it. Out of the box, the strobe uses 4 batteries, which gives you about 260 shots on full power, which is acceptable, but adding the optional booster to the mix, using 8 batteries instead of 4, completely changes the strobe's performance, upping the battery life to 520 shots on full and reducing your recycle time. This piece is critical due to the circular flash tube, which has higher power demands than a straight flash tube strobe. If you have the older supercharger from previous Retra models, you will need to upgrade to the booster, as the supercharger is not compatible with the newer Pro Max line of strobes. Though the booster increases performance, it also increases the amount of batteries you will need to travel with. To have 2 complete sets of batteries, you will need a total of 8 Eneloop Pros per Retra, or 16 batteries. Including a backup set brings you to 32 batteries total, which would be needed if you were doing 2 or more dives in a day. We also recommend an additional 4 batteries in case you encounter a leak, damage to the batteries, or lose any, bringing up the total up to 36 batteries just to be on the safe side. Now, let's check out the battery cap system on the Retra. To remove the cap, loosen the black knob towards the open direction. This will reveal the battery compartment. On this strobe, the O-rings are located on the strobe body rather than the cap itself. The Retra uses a double O-ring seal, which allows for 2 lines of defense against leaks. These O-rings will need to be inspected, cleaned, and greased to make sure your battery compartment remains dry. Another unique feature to the Retra Pro Max strobe is the leak detector. Retra has one of the only strobes available with a leak detector in the battery compartment. This will warn you if moisture enters the battery compartment, allowing you to react much faster if you have a leak. If you do have a leak, the Retra's battery compartment is sealed, meaning water will not enter the sensitive electronics compartment of the strobe. The aluminum body allows you to clean any corrosion from the internal contacts, and a fiberglass brush can be used to clean the contacts on the cap. It is always best to have a spare battery cap on hand in case you encounter a leak, as battery caps in general are easily damaged beyond repair. Overall, if you wind up with water in your battery compartment, give us a call and we can recommend the best course of action for repair. There are 2 dials on the back of the strobe, one for mode and the other for brightness. Between both dials is the pilot test button, which is used to either activate the pilot light, also called a target light, or control a test flash. When pressed in M, TTL, HSS, or U mode, it will power on the pilot light. The pilot light has 2 different powers, 50% and 100%. When in test mode, pressing the pilot test button will activate a test flash. This button is also used as the primary control when it comes to connecting your strobe to the app via Bluetooth or to override any messages on the back screen. The Retra Pro Max has a rear digital screen that displays critical information about the strobe. The screen will show you what mode you are in, as well as the power level you have selected. The screen also displays when the strobe is recycling with the CHG message. This will allow you to know exactly when your strobe is fully recycled before you take your next shot. The rear screen will also display other messages such as low battery, leak detection, and Bluetooth connection. Let's check out the different modes on the mode dial. The first mode we have is battery and test. When you first change to this mode, you will see the battery level indicator using a battery icon with 4 bars. The bars will decrease as the battery is used. The screen will then enter test mode. Test mode allows you to test flash the strobe by pressing the pilot test button. The screen will read TST followed by the power value of your flash. Test mode is also how you will activate the strobe's Bluetooth connection. This is how you can connect the strobe to the app to update firmware, assign U mode, and see specific information regarding your strobe. We'll take a deeper dive into the app a little later on. Next up is manual. In this mode, the strobe is ready to sync with a single flash optical trigger. You will control the output of the strobe starting with 1, the lowest output, to 100, the highest output. These are displayed on the power dial by the larger set of numbers. The LCD will also display your power level, giving you an easy way to view your flash power. The Pro Max has 13 different power levels total, each with an increment of 0.5 stops. Following manual is TTL. This is optical slave TTL and will require either a fill-in type flash or a TTL trigger to use. In this mode, the strobe calculates an automatic exposure based on your camera settings. In TTL mode, you can use the power dial to control the flash's exposure compensation. The smaller numbers display different flash increments. 0 is neutral, with 3 stops in the positive or negative direction. This is also displayed on the rear screen as well. Here's a pro tip. If you are using TTL, always make sure to switch the strobe to 0 to start with. This will help keep your images from being under or overexposed from the first shot. You'll need to keep this in mind, especially if you're switching from manual to TTL on the same dive, as your power switch will likely be moving around quite a bit. The next mode is HSS. HSS stands for High Speed Sync and will allow you to use a higher shutter speed than your camera's native flash sync speed limit. This is most commonly used for macro shooting, in which you can use a more open aperture for a shallower depth of field while still keeping a black background. You will adjust the flash output of the strobe using the power dial, just as you would in manual mode. HSS can only be used with compatible triggers such as those by Turtle TTL and UW Technics. Next mode is U. Mode U is a custom mode that can be changed using the app. The app is free and simple. When you boot up the app, you will see user manuals for all Retra strobes and will be able to connect to your strobe or add another device. Once you select your strobe, you can update the firmware, see the strobe's trigger count, battery level, and serial number. You can also access the strobe settings by clicking the gear button on the top right-hand corner. Here, you can assign U to Smart SL, LED Adjust, or Low Power Flash. Out of the box, the U mode on the Pro Max will be in Smart SL, which is a pre-flash cancellation learning mode. If you have a camera that only has fill or TTL flash, such as a Sony a6000 series, RX100 series, or a Panasonic LX10, you will need to use this mode to sync camera flash with the strobe. To set this up, take a single test flash, and the Retra will learn the pre-flash pattern. Once complete, the screen will show the value of your power dial, and you can change the output manually from here. LED Adjust will allow you to fine-tune the power of the pilot light, using the power dial the same as you would with the flash output. We couldn't find a specific use for this mode, but it is there if you would like incremental adjustments up to your LED. MLP, or Manual Low Power Mode, will decrease the flash output, allowing you to have a greater variety of flash options at an overall lower power. This effectively gives you a new set of power levels, which comes in handy for low light shoots, such as sunrise or sunset, which can be easily blown out by too much flash power. The last mode on the strobe is Turn/SOS. This mode has two functions. First off, Turn will flip the orientation of the screen 180 degrees. This will allow you to clearly read the screen based on how you mount the strobe on your arm. The second function is SOS. The strobe will continually pulse the LED with an SOS pattern for emergency cases. Both dials are not infinite, and they have a clear stopping point, which makes finding the highest power output easy to identify. The dials also have a satisfying click, making it easy to recognize you have changed mode or power. The dials are also long and easy to turn, even when using thick gloves. Also, between the rear screen and large print, it is very clear to tell what mode and power output you are set to on the strobe. The first performance-based attribute of the Retra Pro Max we'll check out is brightness. Retra does not state a guide number in their specifications, but rather in watt-seconds, with the Retra Pro Max rated at 140 watt-seconds. Watt-seconds is a measurement of power going into the strobe, rather than the brightness of the light leaving the strobe. At Backscatter, we measure all strobes using guide numbers, which measures the brightness of the strobe light itself. We take every strobe that we sell into a controlled testing environment underwater, using a light meter in a custom housing set to ISO 100, placed 1 meter away in front of the strobe. As a result of these tests, we found the Retra to be at guide number 22. In the lineup, this is similar to other circular flash tube strobes, but less bright than some of the other straight flash tube strobes. Next, we're going to look at the beam pattern or the shape of the light emitted from the strobe. Circular flash tube strobes are typically wider and much more even compared to straight flash tubes. Even without a diffuser, circular flash tubes can easily spread their light over a wide area without running into gaps or hot spots in your image. We always test every strobe underwater to see exactly what their flash beams look like. As you can see, the Retra Pro Max has a wide and very even beam, with no harsh edges, making it ideal for wider scenes and subjects. Furthermore, the Retra strobes have a whole suite of accessories that can modify the beam to fit your exact shooting situation. These are not included with the strobe, but can be purchased based on your needs. Retra has optional diffusers, beam restrictors, and an optical snoot that bayonets to the front of the strobe. Retra's snoot or light shaping device was designed along with the Retra series of strobes and is easiest to use when paired with them. We like that the target light is centered rather than other strobes and third-party snoots where the target light is offset. This makes snooting significantly easier and less frustrating, as the flash will appear where the target light is pointed rather than off to the side of the target light. Color temperature is measured in degrees Kelvin, with higher values being cooler looking and the lower values being warmer looking. We always test the color temperature in air because once you go underwater and ambient light starts mixing in, it can give you a false reading. We measured it with a Sekonic color spectrometer and found the Retra Pro Max's color temperature at 5800 Kelvin. This is cooler than the stated spec of 4900 Kelvin, but it is very close to daylight at 5500 Kelvin and will reproduce good color underwater. Recycle time indicates how quickly your flash is ready for another shot. Manufacturers calculate it differently. Some strobes wait for full power recharge before firing again, while others fire as soon as some charge is available. We prefer a strobe that fires regardless of charge, such as the Retra. Some light is much better than no light and can be the difference between keeping or deleting a shot. To calculate recycle time, we use a high-speed camera and light meter to determine the exact time in which the strobe fully recycles. The Retra Pro Max doesn't have a clearly stated recycle time. Instead, it has a published range of 0 to 3 seconds depending on if you use the booster or not. Without the booster and just 4 batteries, we found the time to recharge back to full power was 5.92 seconds. If we fired as soon as the strobe was ready, we got 5.78 seconds, but was a full stop less bright. When the booster is introduced into the mix and all 8 batteries are in play, the recycle speed is reduced dramatically, bringing it to 2.63 seconds to full recharge. If we fired the strobe as soon as it was ready, the soonest it could fire again was 0.03 seconds. In this case, the flash was measured at a whole stop lower and would give us 2 flashes until it needed to recycle for another 3 seconds to fire again. Due to the decrease in recycle time, we find the booster to be absolutely necessary to get the most out of the strobe. Here's another tip. If you need a faster recycle time to capture your shot, simply turn the power level down, which will decrease the overall recycle time. Flash duration is how long the flash tube is lit up when the strobe fires. This is something that's measured in hundredths of a second, and this is where our review takes a bit of a deep dive into camera nerd territory. We tested the Retra Pro Max and found that it has a flash duration of over 1/600th of a second at full power. Most current SLR and mirrorless cameras have a maximum flash synchronization speed of about 1/200th up to 1/400th of a second, meaning they don't risk catching the flash or making the flash appear less bright if the shutter speed is set faster than the flash duration. So the strobe easily passes this test. The only thing to be aware of is if you have a compact camera or a mirrorless camera with a global shutter. These are not subjected to maximum flash synchronization speeds because they don't have a mechanical shutter. With these cameras, you can run the shutter speed as fast as you want and still synchronize with the strobe. If you're shooting a compact or global mirrorless and your shutter speed is set faster than 1/600th of a second, you will cut the flash from the Retra Pro Max at full power, making it appear less bright in your shots as the faster your shutter speed goes. Just take that shutter speed back under 1/600th of a second, and you'll be able to get the full flash effect without the shutter cutting it off. Also, keep in mind as you turn the brightness down of the strobe, the flash duration gets faster too. The Retra Pro Max fits in with the top end of the strobe lineup at $1,600 for the strobe itself, making it one of the more expensive strobes available. The Pro Max has high-quality construction, boutique appeal, and a clean layout, as well as a number of useful accessories. We find the booster to be a mandatory add-on, as it greatly improves recycle time and battery life. The improved design of the booster and battery cap makes it an appealing upgrade from older Retra models as well. Remember, this does mean you will need to carry those extra batteries along with. Another benefit is its even beam angle. Other wide-angle strobes, such as the C-Cam, offer a wider and more even beam, but are larger and more expensive. Ikelight's DS230 is around 2/3 of a stop brighter, is more even, and less expensive. But it's larger and uses proprietary battery packs and is not fiber optic ready out of the box. Other straight flash tube strobes, such as the YSD32 and Duo, have fewer bells and whistles, but are brighter and are at a lower price point. Adding the dome diffuser into the mix will help widen and even the light from the YSD3 as well. Overall, the Retra Pro Max is a higher-end strobe with many accessories and features, but faces competition from both the upper and lower ends of the lineup. You can always give us a call or send us a message here at Backscatter, and our team will be happy to walk you through all of these facts and compare the benefits of different strobes and what's going to best suit your underwater photography needs. Remember, we have free lifetime tech support on every purchase. We ship internationally every day, and we dive, shoot, and service everything that we sell. This is Thomas from Backscatter signing off, and I'll see you next time.